Globalization can be defined as a process of social, political, economic, cultural, and technological integrations among countries around the world. Evidence of globalization can be seen in increased levels of trade, capital flows, and migration. Globalization has been facilitated by technological advances in transnational communications, transport, and travel. In recent years, globalization has accelerated, creating both opportunities and challenges to global business and international management. The evolution of global economies has resulted in three main systems: market economies, command economies, and mixed economies. Recognizing opportunities in global expansion includes understanding the differences in these systems as they affect issues as consumer choice and managerial behavior. A market economy exists when private enterprise reserves the right to own property and monitor the production and distribution of goods and services, while the state simply supports the competition and efficient practices. Management is particularly affected here since private ownership provides local evaluation and understanding, opposed to a nationally standardized archetype. This model contains the least restriction as the allocation of resources is roughly determined by the law of demand. Individuals within the community disclose wants, needs, and desires to which businesses may appropriately respond. A general balance between the supply and demand sustains prices, while the imbalance creates a price fluctuation. In other words, if the demand for a good or service exceeds supply, the price will inevitably rise, while an excess supply over consumer demand will result in a price decrease. A command economy is comparable to a monopoly in the sense that the organization, in this case the government, has explicit control over the price and supply of a good or service. The particular goods and services offered are not necessarily in response to consumer stated needs, but are determined by the theoretical advancement of society. Businesses in this model are owned by the state to ensure that investments and other business practices are done in the best interest of the nation, despite the often contradictory outcomes. Management within this model ignores demographic information. Government subsidies provide firms with enough security so they cannot go out of business, which simply encourages a lack of inefficiency and incentive to monitor costs. Devoid of private ownership, a command economy states an environment where little motivation exists to improve customer service or introduce innovative ideas. A mixed economy is a combination of both a market and command economy. While some of the sectors of the system reflect private ownership and their freedom and flexibility of the law of demand, other sectors are subject to government planning. The balance allows competition to thrive while the government can extend assistance to individuals or companies. Regulations concerning minimum wage standards, social security, environmental protection, and the advancement of civil rights may raise the standard of living, ensure that those who are elderly, sick, or have limited skills are taken care of. Ownership of organizations is seen as critical to the nation may be transferred to the state to subsidize the costs and allow the firms to flourish. Economic integration is the most pronounced in the triad of North America, Europe, and the Pacific Rim. The North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, is turning the region into one giant market. The NAFTA consists of Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and has effectively removed all barriers to trade among these countries. In South America, there is an increasing amount of inter-country trade sparked by Mercosur. Additionally, trade agreements such as the Central American Free Trade Agreement are linking countries of the Western Hemisphere together. In Europe, the expansion of the original countries of the European Union is creating a larger and more diverse union with dramatic transformation of the Central and Eastern European countries, such as Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary. Asia is another major regional power, as reflected in the rapid growth shown not only by Japan, but by the economies of China, India, and other emerging countries. Different growth rates and shifting demographics are dramatically altering the distribution of economic power around the world. Notably, China's rapid growth rate will make it the largest economic power in the world by mid-century, if not earlier. India would become the most populous country in the world, and other emerging markets will also become important players. International trade and investment have been increasing dramatically over the years. Multinational corporations have holdings throughout the world, from North America to Europe to the Pacific Rim to Africa. Some of these holdings are a result of direct investment. Others are partnership agreements with local firms. Small firms are also finding that they must seek out international markets to survive in the future. Multinational corporations from emerging markets are growing rapidly, rapidly and expanding their global reach. The internationalization of nearly all businesses has arrived.